Hey guys, Britt here. Welcome to End Times Bible Prophecy. Make sure to hit the subscribe, like, and share buttons. Well, it's coming faster than you think. Today we're going to talk about central bank digital currencies and how they're coming faster than many people think. This is part 3 of the series we've been doing so far. So if you've missed parts 1 and 2, it's a good idea to go back and watch that. It's not necessary to understand what we're going to talk about today. But we talked in that first part about the difference between linear change and exponential change and how we are experiencing right now exponential change, particularly in regard to technological advancement in the world today. What does that mean for how close certain events and discoveries and breakthroughs and new things are going to be implemented? I think it means those things may be coming much sooner than a lot of people think. And one of those things is central bank digital currency. So we're going to talk about what it is, how quickly it's probably going to arrive, what type of power it gives the government, how that power differs, if at all, from what the book of Revelation tells us will be the characteristics of the mark of the beast. And what does this mean for how far away the mark of the beast may be? So we're going to talk about all those topics today. So let's dive right in. Let's talk about central bank digital currency. What is central bank digital currency? We hear a lot about this. Well, essentially, it's just a digital form of a nation's currency. So people may say, well, how is that different from an electronic payment with a credit card or a debit card, Apple Pay? Well, those are with private companies. This would be used with your government. So it would be very centralized. That's what makes it different from Bitcoin and other decentralized cryptocurrencies that are not controlled by one entity. So in this case, central bank digital currencies, the government will control it. They will centralize it. They will know every transaction that takes place. So that's essentially what central bank digital currency is. It's this digital form of currency that's put out in place of paper currency, cash, coins, and these other electronic forms of payment that we talk about. And that's, make no doubt, we're going to talk about that in a little bit, but make no doubt that their goal is to eliminate those other forms of payment so that the only thing that you can use is the central bank digital currency, because this is all about consolidation of power. That's what all of this is about. So how far away is central bank digital currency? How long until we see all of this roll out and put into place? Some people will say, well, it's years away, it's a long way away, or it's never coming because all of this infrastructure needs to be put into place. All of these things need to happen. People need to adopt it. But I would say that it's coming a lot sooner than many people think. And depending on where you live and where you're watching this, you may be using it already. So I want to turn to this article right here. This is from Crypto News. It says, what countries have central bank digital currency in 2023? And how will they shape the crypto future? So this has some of the statistics on where this stands right now. So it says over 114 countries are now exploring a central bank digital currency. Now that they account for about 95% of all the economic transactions on Earth, the 114 countries they're talking about right now. And this says in May 2020, only 35 nations were exploring the option. So less than 3 years ago, only 35 were even exploring it. Now we have 114. And it says an unprecedented 60 countries are in an advanced phase of development, pilot, or launch. Meanwhile, 11 countries have fully launched a digital currency, and China's pilot, already reaching 260 million citizens, is projected to expand to most of the country by 2023. So what year are we in right now? We are in the year 2023. So by the end of this year, over 1 billion people in China are going to, I don't know if they're going to be using this for every transaction or if it would just be available to everyone, but it's rolling out a lot sooner than a lot of people anticipate. So we read down a little bit more. It says this year, so in 2023, over 20 countries will take significant steps toward piloting a central bank digital currency. Australia, Thailand, Brazil, India, South Korea, and Russia are predicted to join or continue pilot testing, and the European Central Bank also intends to kick off with trials this year. Since the beginning of 2021, nearly all G20 countries have made significant progress and invested in these projects. Every G7 economy has now shifted into a development stage of central bank digital currency. Of the G20, 18 are now in advanced stages of central bank digital currency development, with 7 having already embarked on pilot programs. So guys, that should give you a good idea of where we are in this process right now. Now, launching it versus everyone using it are two different things. So, but keep in mind, in less than 3 years ago, only 35 countries were even exploring this. And now we have a good portion of the world's population, the 2 most populous countries in the world, India and China, already have pilot programs. So you can be sure this will be fully rolled out within the next 12 months in both of those countries. But the question is, how do we get from rolling it out to everybody has to use it? And some people would say, well, that's way far off. But it's not as far as most people think, because all that stands in the way really is government legislation, regulation, and the infrastructure, point of sale technology. So just we know what these countries want to do. Just this past weekend, we had the United Arab Emirates come out with their financial infrastructure program for the time period ahead. They had these 9 specific stages of financial infrastructure transformation, is what they called it, the FIT program. Number 1, stage 1 on that list was the launch of a central bank digital currency, and the United Arab Emirates cited as one of the reasons for doing so to achieve a cashless society. So we know that's where they want this to go. They want to eliminate cash. They want to have the power to surveil every transaction in the economy. And we know what powers that's going to give the government. It's not a good place to be. We've seen in Nigeria where they rolled out their digital currency, the e-Naira, a little over a year ago. I believe it was November 2021. Well, here we sit today. Less than half a percent of their population uses this thing. People do not want it, but the government is pushing and pushing for it. They've put these onerous restrictions on how much cash can be deposited or withdrawn from the bank. They're slowly trying to strangle off the use of cash in the economy. And eventually they'll probably just start pulling back and not even issue the cash, trying to force people into using this. And of course, what's going to happen is the free market will demand other currencies come into play and people will transact with that. But what they're going to do at that point is they will simply come in and say, well, if you are a business we can identify, you're operating in the open, you are going to accept this and only this, or people are going to have to give some other information that allows that transaction to be seen into, such as iris scans or fingerprints, facial recognition technology. Maybe all of those things may be incorporated, but at the point of sale, they'll be able to go to the big retailers, the grocery stores, and say, you are implementing this. If you do not, you will be in violation of our anti-money laundering or whatever other laws they put up trying to say this is why they're doing this. They're going to put those into effect, roll this out at all of those point of sale places, and if the businesses don't cooperate, they'll simply take away their business license and they'll be out of business. So those businesses will cooperate. So there may be still some underground economic transactions taking place, but they're going to push. And so Nigeria is a place we want to watch to see how far they push this. How far are they willing to go to force people to use this? But we're clearly seeing this roll out all over the world right now. It's just a matter of time before it's where you are if it's not there already. So, as what kind of power does this give the government? It gives them a lot more than to simply be able to have visibility into every single transaction you make, but it will give them visibility into where you are when you make that transaction, you know, who you're transacting with, everything. It will give them total insight into everything that you are doing. And they will be able to program that digital currency specific to you or to the general population, depending on what they want to do. So if they determine, well, we're heading into a recession and that's bad, they could say, well, everyone has to spend X amount of their currency by this date or you lose it. And that will force people to go out and spend and try to stimulate the economy. Or they may decide, well, we don't like what you just said on social media. You put out a video that portrayed us in a bad light, so you're under house arrest. So your digital currency doesn't work outside of this half-a-mile radius of your home for the next 30 days, 6 months, year, whatever it may be. Or maybe it doesn't work at all. Maybe we simply cut you off at some point. This will give the government enormous power. And again, make no doubt, this stuff is coming. They're going to push. Nigeria is a place to watch. But the question is, again, how will they ultimately get people to walk into this cage? Because I think a lot of people have woken up to the fact that if this becomes reality, then the government has complete control. Well, I think what's going to happen is we're going to see a major financial crisis. I want to pull up this chart right here. We've looked at it in the past. This is from the U.S. Federal Reserve. It's economic data on the federal funds effective rate. So when we hear about the Fed is raising rates, they're raising interest rates, this is what they're talking about. But rather than looking specifically at the rate itself, we're going to look at the year-over-year change, as we've done in the past. And when we do, we get this chart. And so we see decades of pretty much a flat line, indistinguishable from before. And now we see this vertical line straight up over the last 11 months. And this is based on data as of January 1st. They've since then raised rates. They're expected to raise them again a month from now. So expect this to go higher until we start reaching a point probably in April where the year-over-year comparisons aren't as large. But guys, you hear all this talk about the soft landing for the economy. The Fed is going to engineer this soft landing. Of course, they tell us that we're not even in a recession. Everything's wonderful. So I don't know why they're saying they want to have a soft landing, but that's what we hear in the media all the time. Oh, there's going to be this soft landing for the economy. Well, if you look at this chart, clearly there's no soft landing coming. They're flying that plane right into the side of this mountain. And it's quite possible that's by design. There is going to be a major economic crisis when the economy realizes the full effect of this massive increase, this sharp, dramatic increase in interest rates. And when that crisis comes, they're going to roll out the central bank digital currency as the answer. They're going to say, well, the reason for this crisis was this Bernie Madoff fraud that took place over here, or this hedge fund that took out loans from 5 different banks using the same collateral, or because of FTX blew up over here, this crypto exchange. And if only we had had insight into what they were doing, what they were up to, the frauds they were committing, then we could have stopped all of that. So this digital currency that we're rolling out, that will enable us to have that insight into that data to prevent anything like this from ever happening again, and to protect you and millions of people who have lost their jobs, who are having trouble paying their rent, their mortgage, buying food. They're going to hear that, and that's going to resonate with them. They're going to say, this is for my protection. It's for my benefit. They're rolling it out. There's nothing I can do anyway. And the government's going to say, and while you're at it, go claim your e-wallet now with the government, and there's $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 in currency waiting for you to help us get out of this economic depression we're in. We're gonna stimulate the economy. Go claim your free cash, and people will find that siren song irresistible. They will dive in, all in, and once they get enough people into that system, they don't have to get 100% participation. They get 70, 80, 90% participation. The rest will be forced out of the system. We will see those point of sale transactions get to the point where you can't go to a retailer, you can't go to a grocery store, you can't go to any business operating in public and pay using anything but central bank digital currency. And then they will have us. Guys, how is any of this government power, how is it any different in function economically? I'm talking just economically here, but how is it any different in economic function from the mark of the beast foretold in Revelation chapter 13? I don't see that it is. I've been studying Bible prophecy for 30 years. I became a Christian about 30 years ago. Started studying Bible prophecy, reading some of these commentaries on Bible prophecy, and at the time, there were people saying there's going to be this cashless society, there's going to be this mark of the beast system rolled out. And people would look around and say, well, that seems really far away. How are they going to do that? That technology doesn't really exist. We can sort of see the beginnings of it with credit cards and debit cards, but the whole world, how are they going to do this? And depending on the time frame you were looking at it, maybe it was far away. But guys, right now it isn't far away. We're there. We're seeing this very technology roll out. Now, all that said, central bank digital currency is not the mark of the beast. And even if they get to the point where it rolls out and everybody has to use it, it's still not the mark of the beast. But it will set the stage for and lay the foundation for that mark of the beast system, because it gives the government power that is indistinguishable from the power the mark of the beast has economically. Now, we know from the Bible that people that take on the mark of the beast, also, it's an act of worship of the Antichrist. It's a conscious rejection of God and worship of the Antichrist. So certainly central bank digital currency doesn't have those characteristics in it. But again, it is setting the stage for all this to happen. So how far away are we from that mark of the beast? I don't know. The mark of the beast won't come until the midpoint of the tribulation period. I don't know how far away the tribulation period is. But what I do know is that generations of Christians could look around and say there is no technology available right now for Revelation 13 to be fulfilled. Literally, it could be fulfilled, I guess, through supernatural means, but the ability to fulfill that with the technology available at the time was not there for the overwhelming majority of Christian history. But our generation, people alive right now, those of us, watching this video right now, we can say, yes, the technology is there. We can very well see how this could happen. And we've seen how governments have used this. We saw the beginning of last year with the Canadian truckers and their protest, the Freedom Convoy, and how the Canadian government went in and said, oh, you're associated with any way, shape, or form with this protest, we're going to cut off your ability to bank. We're going to cut you off from the funds in your bank. So they've already shown a willingness to do it. Central Bank Digital Currency will give them the ability to do that instantly without even having to consult with corporations that they're colluding with. They'll just do it. And there will be no ability to respond. There will be nothing that your average citizen can do in response to that. They will be cut out of the economic system. So this is a trap. People are going to walk into it. My guess is it's going to be promises of security and protection against fraud, all these things that are going to lure people in there. And then, of course, greed when they offer, here, you can have this treat. If you just simply accept this, we're gonna see. Well, we won't see. I guess we won't see the mark of the beast or the tribulation or anything like that. But we are seeing this central bank digital currency roll out, and we're not that far away from seeing it available in every industrialized nation. And then what? How far away could we be then? I don't know, but I know, guys, we're seeing all of these signs come together. We see, the nation of Israel here in a few months will celebrate its 75th anniversary. For 93.9% of Christian history, there was no nation of Israel. So we weren't close to the tribulation when there was no nation of Israel, because it's all about the nation of Israel and the events that transpire central to the nation of Israel. The Jewish people were not in control of the city of Jerusalem. Today, they are. So we see all of these different events coming together. Central bank digital currency is just one more indication that the stage is being set for the tribulation period to play out, at the end of which Jesus will return. The second coming of Jesus Christ will occur at the end of the tribulation. And Jesus promised the church, Revelation 3:10, if you are faithful, I will keep you from the time of great testing that comes upon the whole world. So I believe that is a reference to the rapture of the church, that will occur before the tribulation. So if we can see the stage being set for the tribulation to play out, and we see that in multiple ways, then we should expect the rapture's even closer than that. How far away? I have no clue. Nobody knows the day or the hour. I have no idea when that will be, but I know that we should all be doing the work that God has put us on earth here to do every second we can, right up until the time Jesus either comes for us personally or comes for the whole church in the rapture. So what do you think? Leave your comments below. Do you think central bank digital currency is coming anytime soon? Let me know. If you disagree, let me know that too. Make sure to like and share this. God willing, I will see you on Monday. Bye. If you want to learn more about the end times and Bible prophecy, make sure to sign up for my free monthly newsletter and get your copy of my free ebook, 7 Signs of the End Times. Just follow the link in the description to get your free book. Also, make sure to check out all of my books. Just look up Britt on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Apple iBooks, Google Books, Kobo, or anywhere books are sold. Thanks for watching today, and until next time, keep your eyes fixed on Jesus, the author and perfecter of our faith.